the average trip to the space station, over. Valentino, I have only seen that happen from the Earth. I have not yet seen one from ISS, and I hope to catch one before I come home in about 8 days, over. Ivy, we do lots of life sciences and physical sciences to see how microgravity affects growing structures, making structures, and living organisms. And just in a little while this morning, Mike and I are going to do an experiment to see how space has affected our muscle tone. Ava, we train a lot for emergency scenarios, and we've had a couple of things that have rung alarms, and we've done our appropriate emergency responses to them, but thankfully none of them have been a really big deal. They were sensors or malfunctions that we in the ground figured out later, and everything was okay. It would be really bad because it could put a hole in the space station and cause our atmosphere to leak out, and then we'd have to seal off the air. It takes a lot of effort to. If not, then we know it's coming. We can hunker down and get into a safe space in preparation, but we work very hard to avoid it if we can. Over. Asher, I brought with me, I was allowed to bring personal items, and I brought pictures of my family. That was probably the most important thing. And then I brought a few special T-shirts and a hat and some other things like that, items that I wanted to give away as gifts. So a couple of them are surprises, so I won't say what they are, but I brought surprises for my wife and my daughters that I'm going to give to them when I get back. Over. Charlotte, there's not a set number of times per year, but we have vehicles that make regular trips to the space station. Our Cygnus cargo vehicle, like we have one here now, the Dragon, which is the cargo version of Dragon, which is coming up in May. And so I'd say we have about one every other month, so maybe 6 times a year, but there's not a set number. It can happen as the ISS needs supplies. Over. Aaron, great question. In my opinion, the most difficult thing about being in space is being away from Earth and your loved ones, your family. I miss my wife and my daughters, and that is the toughest and most difficult thing about being in space. Over. Indiana, we watch movies, we call friends and family on Earth, read books. I like to exercise. I think that's fun. I also enjoy all of the delicious foods and snacks that we have up here. So we have lots of ways to have fun. Over. Yes, we absolutely can see all types of different weather phenomenon, and you can see the entire things because we're up so high. Great question. Over. Ivy, we do have a research project that grows plants in space, and we have very special hardware that has the seeds in little pillows and little packets, and we have special bags of water that enable us to keep the plants hydrated and healthy. And then we have a special enclosure that has LEDs, light-emitting diodes, that provide different colors of light to help those plants grow. But it really takes a lot of special hardware that people on the ground make and send up to us. So the ability to grow things in space definitely needs to be developed so that we could do it autonomously. Over. Our daily routine involves exercising and eating lunch, and other than those two things, we work very hard at doing research and keeping the space station working, so doing maintenance, as well as doing outreach events and getting to talk to great students like you all. Over. Alberto, we have a training program on the ground that we do, and if you complete that program, then you're qualified to go out on a spacewalk. And as you get more experience in space, you might be able to. At this time, I do not believe we have any. Actually, we do. We have, I think they're called C. elegans worms. They're a specimen that we're analyzing to see how their muscles are affected by being in space. And they actually have a really neat enclosure that they move around in, and we measure how much their movement deflects these structures that they are living in. That we can watch that under a microscope. I believe that is the only organism that we have on board right now. Over. Charlotte, that is such a beautiful question. It absolutely does. Looking out in space and seeing the Earth hanging out there in the blackness amongst all the stars, it just makes me realize how special Earth really is and how special life on Earth really is. Of all of the amazing things that I have seen while I'm up here, the most